has the church failed to understand our identity? Have we failed to understand our identity? I think that sometimes we have forgotten who we are. That instead of us, like was said of the early church, us churning the world upside down, it seems that the world is churning the church upside down. And I think we need to get back to a place of where we are focusing on the things that the church should be focused on. And in order to do that, I want to remind us of some of the things that the church is, but also what the church isn't. The first thing is that the church isn't is a building. A building. Feel the seat next to you. All right? Touch the seat, it's okay. That's not the church, right? Stomp on the ground. We're thankful for the ground, but that's not the church. Who's the church? That's right. And we know this to be true, but sometimes we don't always function that way. And we need to remind ourselves today that the church is a body, and it has many parts, and it has many functions. So take a look at your neighbor and say, hey, you're a part of this body. Yeah. And you might have a different function, but they're all important. The other thing that the church isn't, and sometimes I feel that it isn't a judge's box. It isn't about coming and evaluating everything. Well, Pastor Kate was extra peppy today, so I think that worship is 9.0. But that Pastor Godfrey, I'm not sure where he's going with his message today, so 6.5 at best. Right? And so we evaluate things sometimes because we're looking for certain things to happen. But we don't only evaluate the service, we evaluate people, don't we? Well, look at, oh my goodness, that person doesn't look like they have it together. Right? And we stand back and we evaluate, but that's not what the church is about. We have to remember that the church is a family. Right? And sometimes there are challenges in the family. Sometimes we've got to work together. Sometimes we've got to help out family members, and we all have responsibilities. The third thing that the church isn't is a feel-good factory. We're not here to make you feel good about yourself. We're not standing up here giving you little TED Talks, telling you how great you are. And again, nothing wrong with TED Talks, but not at church, please. Thank you. And so we need to encounter the presence of God. And when we encounter the presence of God, when we come face to face with His Word, that allows our lives to be transformed. We realize how far short we fall and how we need to change our lives. And finally, the church is not a glorified community Christ club. It's not a place to come and just make friends and hang out and be entertained. Now, I do love to socialize. I love to meet new people. And it's important that we are a friendly church. And I want to issue you a challenge on this. And if you're the type of person that immediately when the church service is over, you leave, you don't talk to anybody, or if you're the type of person who right when the service is done, you just gather together with your group of friends, I want to issue this challenge to you. We call it the First 5 Challenge. And if you do it, it will change your life and it will change this church. Here's what it is the first 5 minutes after every single service, talk to somebody that you don't know. Talk to somebody that you don't know. Take 5 minutes and find out about somebody that you haven't met before, you don't know really well, even though you maybe have seen them for weeks or months or even years, and you're a part of the same church body. But even with being friendly and greeting one another, which I think is important, we have to understand that the church is an army. That we have a mission. It says in 2 Timothy 2:4 that no one serving as a soldier gets entangled in the concerns of civilian life. He seeks to please the commanding officer. And yet, how many times do we see ourselves and other believers in our lives that we get distracted by civilian things instead of being on the mission? A church that doesn't understand our identity is caught up in temporal things and in temporary things, and yet a church that understands her identity is caught up in the eternal. The one who doesn't understand its identity is caught up in too many focused on social things and social gatherings and not enough on souls. One who doesn't understand their identity is more inclined to be selfish instead of selfless. And certainly not influencing the culture around it, but being influenced by the culture. We're either off mission or we're on mission.